We are coming to you from the city beautiful Chicago, Illinois, where this afternoon WGN Sports presents White Sox baseball. It's Adam Dunn, Alex Rios, Jose Quintana and the Sox as they get set to butt heads with Brian McCann, Freddie Freeman, and the first place Atlanta Braves. Hi, everybody, and welcome. With Steve Stone, I'm Ken Harrelson as we get set to bring you
Friday night. Alex Rios hit a ground ball to shortstop, and Simmons dropped it. Alex didn't run. And because of that, Robin Ventura had to make a decision. As you can see there, he would have beaten the play at first. It would have scored the run. It didn't. So he benched him for the rest of the game. But with the tradition of trying to win baseball games and putting your best foot forward, Alex was back in the lineup. This is a grand slam home run. Had one of the biggest days of his career, where he drove in 5 runs and had 3 hits and hit his 3rd grand slam of his career. So a good day for Alex yesterday.
and a couple of southpaws out on that bump.
Mike Minor is one of them, and the Braves have a terrific pitching staff. They're second in the league in that department, and Mike Minor, the last 2 times out, he's thrown exceptionally well. Against Cincinnati, a good hitting ball club. Against Miami, not such a good hitting ball club, but nonetheless, he did throw the ball as well as he can throw it. This guy's 9-4, his ERA just over 3, so you're talking about a very good young left-hander. We've got Jose Quintana. Hopefully he'll be equal to the task. It's a beautiful day for baseball.
All right, sit back, relax, and strap it down. White Sox baseball coming your way. Field.
By pick, former White Sox closer.
course, will be with us today. We'll be back to the ballpark right after these messages. Setting provided by 97.5 FM ESPN Deportes, Chicago's first and only FM Spanish language sports radio station. So on a beautiful day for baseball, it's 88 degrees. The wind is blowing out toward the right field corner. The Braves come into this one at 55-42. They lead Philadelphia by 6.5 games. However, they split their last 10 at 5-5. Sox find themselves at 38-56. 4 teams in the division, 4-6 in their last 10, with Cleveland the only exception, and they're a game and a half back of Detroit in the AL Central. So yesterday the offense came to life, and the offense has been pretty good against a very good Atlanta team in both of these games. Coming up a little short in the first game, winning the ball game yesterday. So the third final and rubber game, we'll see Jose Quintana go to the mound. Mike Minor, his counterpart, a young left-handed starter, doing a particularly good job this year. And everybody's thoughts at this point turn toward the trade market. Will you be a buyer? Will you be a seller? Are you definitively in the race, or are you a pretender? And so a lot of general managers right now doing a lot of soul searching. So let's take a look at how Freddie Gonzalez is going to line up his Braves this afternoon. Andrelton Simmons leading it off. Then it's Chris Johnson at third, Justin Upton in right, Freddie Freeman, Brian McCann, who certainly hits left-handers well, with Evan Gattis, Dan Uggla, Reed Johnson in center field, and Gerald Laird with the nod behind the plate. The White Sox defense is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. It's Wells, Diaz, and Rios in the outfield, with Morel, Ramirez, Keppinger, and Dunn in the infield. Tyler Flowers gets a nod behind the plate. And there's a look at Jose Quintana, looking for win number 5. His ERA 3.71 on for the 20th time. Opponent's hitting just 232. So the young man with 33 walks and 90 strikeouts in the aforementioned 114 innings has done a nice job of it. The men in blue, who will up this game this afternoon. Al Gibson behind the plate. Alan Porter is at first. Jerry Lane, the crew chief, is at second, and Hunter Wendelstedt is at third. So just like the last couple of days, it is a little warm, but not near as warm as it was on Friday. It's a good day if you're a hitter, because of the wind blowing out and the heat to compress the baseball, it's a tough day to keep it in the park. And the Braves do indeed hit a whole lot of home runs. They lead the National League in that department. And they've got some bangers, even though a couple of them are hurt at this point. Robin Ventura looking for more of the same from his ball club that he saw yesterday. He didn't particularly care for the physical error, but that's one of those things. However, his team hit the baseball. And when this ball club hits the ball out of the ballpark, it's a little easier to win games. Keep it in the park, it's a little easier to lose games. So they've thrown the ball around the infield. We're ready to play baseball. I'm ready to turn it over to my play-by-play partner, Ken Harrelson.
Hi, Stevie. Thank you very much. And once again, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to White Sox baseball right here over WGN Sports. So happy you could join us for the rubber match of this 3-game set. Andrelton, Simmons, the shortstop, will lead it off. He's 2 for 8 in this series with a homer. 24-year-old southpaw, Jose Quintana. Ready with the first pitch of this ball game. And it's taken for a strike. Braves come in hitting at .251 with a 3.37 team ERA. Steve told you about what good pitching they have. That 3.37. That's strong. And there's a solid base hit. So Simmons 5 for 9 in stolen bases.
One of the things that Jose is going to have to be aware of early is that the scouting reports have all said against him that he's glove side strong, meaning his strong point is inside to right-handers, away to left-handers. Most unusual. Most pitchers are throwing hand strong. So these Braves will be looking inside, and that's where Simmons looked, and he got a good piece of it.
That'll bring up the third baseman, Chris Johnson, hitting at .335 on the season, 6 homers and 32 knocked in. Chris is 4 for 8 in the first 2 games. Here at the ballpark, 330 down the left field line, 335 down the right field line, 375 in the gaps, and 400 straightaway center. A beautiful day here in the city. Beautiful. And there's a strike.
Johnson's grounded into 9 double plays this year. So it certainly can be done if you can keep the ball on the ground. Conversely, he's walked just 17 times. So that being in 278 at bats, he will swing at just about everything.
Outfield straight up, about equidistant. And nice pick right there. And rack him up. Nice pick by Morel. Well, when you're going to swing at a lot of things like Steve just told you, good chance you're going to hit him some double plays.
And it's pretty easy after that initial grab. The pivot, no problem.
So here's Justin Upton hitting at .261, 16 long ones and 46 knocked in. Love this guy's approach at the plate. Just 25 years old. Not afraid to hit with 2 strikes.
And he's got good coverage, good plate coverage.
That approach of his gives him a lot of advantages that other hitters don't have.
He started out red hot this year, hitting the ball out of the ballpark. He has run into a power outage. However, the Braves hold hope because he's starting to make solid contact just this last week.
Goes through that one. Boy, he did get off to a hot start. Wow.
Well, looked at the time like he was going to hit 60-plus home runs. He was hitting everything in sight, and that's not exactly a homer haven in Atlanta.
Moves it upstairs. Be gone. A nice inning. Throwing a double play and getting the strikeout.
line them up. It's brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. De Aza leading it off, had a big day yesterday with Alexei Ramirez on a 9-game hitting streak. Then it's Rios, Dunn, and Keppinger in the middle, with Viciedo, Wells, Morel, and Flowers rounding it out. The defense and how they'll line up behind Minor. Gaddis, Johnson, and Upton in the outfield, with Johnson, Simmons, Ugla, and Freeman in the infield. Gerald Laird gets a nod behind the plate. And Mike Minor, ERA of 3.02. This is his 20th start. Opponent's hitting .232, almost identical to Quintana. He had 26 walks, 115 strikeouts. He does throw the ball around the plate, and consequently, he will give up the long ball, so that'll be put to the test today.
So, before we show you our picks to click, you at home select yours. Here's De Aza. Takes first pitch strike. Sox coming hitting at .250 as a club with a 4.03 ERA. And those are not bad numbers, Steve, you know, especially the 4.03 in the American League. But you put them in perspective with where we stand in the standings, it'll just show you how bad we play.
Well, there's no doubt the pitching has been consistently good enough to stay in just about each and every game. But at the end of the day, when you give a team 4 outs or you don't execute defensively, you just don't score enough. You don't give the pitcher enough support.
Yeah, when you know, the one thing that you want to do, and you played for a guy who was the master at it, is keep pressure on the other team. Keep putting pressure on them. Keep putting pressure on them. Because if you put it enough, chances are they're going to buckle. And when we have been putting pressure on ourselves, everything is self-induced, and we have buckled. Close pitch, didn't get it.
This Atlanta team very similar to the great Baltimore teams of old. Pitching and defense is how they built it, and hitting the ball out of the ballpark is what it's grown into. When they do that, they usually win, and if not, they lose.
And there's the leadoff walk. So with De Aza aboard, let's check out our picks to click this afternoon. Jim Angio, our director and crew. Kelly was Tyler. Steve is going with Tank and Peter Winfrey. Tracy Williams and I. We're going to go with Casper Wells. Steve is taking the lead. Coming around the halfway mark almost.
Been a titanic struggle to this point. And I just believe that if my team can get hot, coming home, we're going to be in good shape.
There's a strike to Alexei. Alexei, 4th rate in the series, hitting at .289 with a homer and 23 driven in.
Minor does have a sinker, and his fastball will top out 93, 94 miles an hour. But when he throws that 2-seamer and gets sink on it, he'll get some ground balls. But more than not, he's a fly ball pitcher.
There he goes. And that's foul.
Pretty good jump by De Aza. And 9-game hitting streak sees Alexei doing just about everything right. He has thrived in the 2 spot. His batting average knocking at the door at .290 overall. But as the weather has heated up, so has Ramirez.
Ball gets away. He did go. So with that, it's 1 out, and De Aza at second.
4th wild pitch of the year from Minor as Laird tries to corral it, but it's a hard breaking ball. It's in the dirt. And Laird, instead of trying to block it, actually tried to catch it. Very rarely will it stick in the glove.
Yeah, from that angle, it's very tough. Here's Rios. He also is 4 for 8 with a homer and 7 RBIs in the first 2 games. That's taken for a ball, and here's what he did yesterday in one of his at-bats.
This was a big one. Paul Maholm on the mound. Bases loaded and gone. That helped erase a 4-run deficit early. The Sox went on to cruise 10-6.
Changeup outside. So the count 2-0.
Braves liked Minor from the get-go. They drafted him in the first round, the 7th pick overall in 2009. Big left-hander, 6'4", 205. Just now learning how to pitch.
That ball hit hard, but they got a man there. Gaddis. It's a hang Wolfham, so 2 down.
Gaddis is a catcher primarily, although he can play all over, playing left field this afternoon.
So here's Adam. 24 homers, 60 knocked in. Takes ball 1. Adam 0 for 4 in this series. Got the shift on. Simmons on the first base side of second as he takes the strike.
It's going to be Simmons who's going to be charged with holding Diaz close at second base. And right now he's not paying a whole lot of attention to him. A lot of kids at the ballpark today. Family Sunday.
Goes through that one, so he's in the hole. The ball in 2 strikes. No score. Bottom of the first if you're just tuning in. Minor. 116 strikeouts, 27 walks.
Laird with some nice movement to his left. Minor surfaced in the major leagues in 2010, so he got here quickly. Made a reappearance in 2011 where he went 5-3 in 15 starts. Last year 11-10 in 30 starts. So as he's moved along, he's shouldered a bigger piece of the load in the rotation.
And there's a base hit, and that's going to score the run. That a boy. Just goes the other way with it. And the Sox on Dunn's 61st RBI take a 1-0 lead. That's a beautiful thing. The leadoff walk coming around the score.
And the shift works sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't. As Adam doesn't try to pull it, hits it through the vacated shortstop position. Always important to get the first run of the game, although there'll be a few more today. A very lively day at the ballpark.
Here's Keppinger, 248, couple of homers. He's driven in 28. Takes first pitch strike. Keppinger 3 for 9 in the series with 3 RBIs, starting to swing that bat a lot better.
He's really used right field much better in this resurgent addition of Jeff Keppinger. The early Keppinger was not real good this year.
Outfield slightly to the right. Nice gap out there in left center if he can find it. Good rip just underneath it.
You think the scouts saw enough in Jake Peavy yesterday, assuming that he comes back, makes his next start, throws it a little bit better, to be interested once again?
You know, it's funny you asked me that question. I was going to wait till a little bit later. I was going to ask you the same thing. I was sitting, and by the way, I want to congratulate send a big White Sox shout out to Chris Myers and Eric Karros and a good telecast this day. I really enjoyed it. It was enjoyable. They did a heck of a job. But While I was watching the game, they had a shot of some scouts there, and I was thinking the same thing. Have they seen enough today? Have they seen enough?
I mean, I looked at the velocities, and the velocities were 93, 94. Now, that might have been inflated somewhat, but I also looked at the movement of the ball. And there's no doubt he didn't have a feel for the mound like he usually does. But if you look at the velocity and the movement of the ball, you'll figure with another start or two, he's going to be right there.
That ball hit in the center field. Lee Johnson going back. Well, the best part about it from Jake Peavy's standpoint is he's got a heck of a reputation.
Visit www.wgntv.com and click onto the Game Zone banner for updated stats and information. Game Zone is powered by St. Xavier University, Success with Purpose. Log on to www.sxu.edu to check out undergrad and graduate degree options.
0-2 the count to Freddie Freeman, leading off here in the second inning. Freeman 1 for 3 with a homer in the series. Hitting at 308. And that's back to the middle base hit.
Freddie Freeman credits Greg Walker with a whole lot of his success. He was the last man chosen to make the All-Star game. He's a big, strong kid. As he moves along, he's probably going to hit more home runs than he's hit now, but he's showing that he can use the whole field.
As does Paul Konerko credit Greg Walker. As does a lot of others. So here is the guy in the lineup who drives in a lot of 7th, 8th, and 9th inning runs. And by the way, the team this year that scores first is winning 66.9% of the games.
Well, hopefully that will bode well for this one.
Well, yesterday we were trailing 4-0.
It didn't bode well for them yesterday.
No.
There is a traveling plate of nachos on its way to a very fortunate fan. Not quite enough jalapenos, however.
Nice shift by Flowers. McCann hitting at 289 with those 13 and 35. 2 for 8 in this series with a homer.
Nice stop. Flipped it in front of him, and no advancement by Freeman.
2-1 pitch. Big hack, no contact.
Good fastball low and in to a man who 5 times has hit 20 or more home runs in a season, and he'll do it again this year, no doubt.
Yeah, this guy's the real deal.
Now, McCann doesn't strike out very much. He's been 33 times in 187 at bats, so you might see Freddie Freeman running, and you have a chance for a strike him out, throw him out.
Payoff pitch. He does not go, and that ball is fouled back.
Last 18, Brian McCann has been awfully tough. We talked about the shoulder surgery in the opener of this series, and he got off to a late start this year, and just now he's starting to swing the bat like they know he can.
Once again, 3-2. And that's popped up. Stay in here. Nope. Just on top of our dugout.
Those are terrific seats. And a very happy couple of fans enjoying. Let's hope this doesn't turn into the same at bat, the 3-run homer in the 6th of the opener against Johnny Danks, because this is a long at bat also.
Yeah,
McCann is proving difficult. That
12
was
pitch.
That was a toughie.
So it's trouble of brewing here. First 2 men aboard. And that'll bring up Gaddis, the left fielder. Gaddis 2 for 8 in the series. Comes in hitting at .246 with 14 homers and 37 driven in.
He's another guy who doesn't like to walk very much. 14 of them in 175 at bats. Well, maybe they'll send some of those up here. You can hold the onions for it.
I love onions. Gotta have onions.
Send up double onions, give him the hawk.
Need to make a pitch, but he's not. He falls behind 2-0. So Gaddis with a catbird seat.
The only way to make those pitches effective inside off the plate is to establish the outside part of the plate by throwing strikes there. Then you'll force some swings. But he went well in off the plate twice. Gaddis didn't have to swing, and he didn't.
Off the glove. And that's going to be an infield single. Bases loaded, nobody out.
It's a reflex action by the pitcher. And unfortunately, it was the glove side, because Jose was able to get his glove on it. Had he not gotten his glove on it, it probably would have been 2. The deflection and a throw to first would have been a spectacular play to get him, but the throw was wide of the bag, and so Jose Quintana in a big jam early.
Dan Uggla hitting at 199, but he has 19 homers and 44 knocked in. He is 1 for 7 in this series, and that one hit left the premises. He is a dangerous customer at that plate. Little breaking ball strike.
We're with the bases loaded. Pretty good for Uggla. Surprisingly, just 2 grand slams. I say surprisingly because he's a prolific home run hitter.
lays off that pitch. 1-1 to count. And he falls behind him. This is not going to work, falling behind this Atlanta ball club.
Especially with a guy who 5 times has hit 30 or more home runs. It looks like he's going to do it again in Dan Uggla.
Only second baseman in history to do that.
He's been a powerful guy since coming up, but also a guy that doesn't like to walk and will strike out a great deal.
That is slicing foul and into the seats. Two pitch, and he goes full. It's a blue plate special for a hitter.
Not a lot of pitches so far, but Jose is getting there.
And the payoff. He gone. Chased it upstairs. Big out.
That's 120 strikeouts for Uggla. This ball perhaps top of the zone, maybe a touch higher than that, but he throws it right by him. So now a double play ground ball gets you out of the inning. Uggla not the happiest man around, but he's no stranger to the strikeout.
And a reminder, great seats are still available for the season. Prices have been greatly reduced for all games, and the schedule is full of great matchups, promotional nights, and post-game fireworks. So tickets for remaining Monday through Saturday games start as low as $7, and Sundays start at only $5. So WhiteSox.com or 866-SOX-GAME. Reed Johnson, 36-year-old veteran. Line drive. Rack him up. Yes. Base running mistake. We'll take it. Second double play turn in as many innings, and we'll go to the bottom of the second, leading 1-0.
And here's how the inning ended. Line drive, not hit all that hard. And a base running mistake at second base. McCann can't get back. And with bases loaded, nobody out, you get out of that, giving up no runs. It's got to give the team a pretty nice shot of adrenaline. And hopefully the offense can tag a few more up there.
So here's Tank hitting at .240, 7 homers, 28 knocked in. Outfield for the most part straight up. Tank looking for his first hit in this series. This is the third of a 10-game homestand. After these guys starting tomorrow, we got the Tigers coming to town for 4. And after them, the Royals for 3. Change up way out in front.
That's a good change by Mike Minor, something he's been working on, trying to improve it.
That's probably the reason he's having such a good game.
He will leave that up occasionally, but not the last 2 times.
So he gets Viciedo.
He was back-to-back with straight changes. That one had the whole plate. Viciedo usually likes it down there, but it was the velocity rather than the location that fooled him.
Casper Wells. Peter Winfrey and Tracy Williams picked to click. Count evens at 1.
And there is the Sox social lounge. Go in there. You can charge up your cell phones. That's always a good thing to do. Get on your iPad. And enjoy interacting with other folks either at the ballpark or at home watching the game.
Two-one pitch. Chases a bad one.
One thing that Minor does have is very good movement. And that fastball is very rarely straight. We talked about the fact that he was a 7th overall pick in 2009. The Braves have a pretty good track record with especially their high draft picks.
Made a pretty good pitch on him right there. And a good job by Casper just to fight it off.
See Minor using every part of the plate. Up, down, in, out. Tries to throw that cutter on the inside portion. And he's able to just barely get a piece of it.
And that's in the loge. That's me. Count hangs at 2-2.
Outfield straightaway. Fairly deep, actually.
Attaboy, Casper. Solid single back through the middle.
Here's look, the man that threw the ball game yesterday got the win, which for Jake really is all he's interested in. He went 6 innings. He gave up the 4 runs 2 shouldn't have scored. They were unearned. But he didn't walk anybody in fan 3, yet he was unhappy with his command because, by his own admission, he said he was wild in the strike zone, which can be more destructive than just plain wild. Jake usually doesn't walk anybody. It's a question of throwing the ball where he wants to and getting the movement that he wants to get.
Hitters absolutely love those guys who get wild inside the strikes.
What you have to like about Jake, and that's whether you're scouting him or know anything about him, is regardless of how he feels, he's a wonderful, wonderful competitor and wants to just win. he has to give up 5 and win 6-5, well, he'll beat you that way. He is a very competitive pitcher, a very competitive person. So that's never been a problem with him. Now, staying healthy at times has been, but that competitive fire that burns inside, Jake has it in abundance.
That's what makes him a throwback. The only thing that counts is not ERA. It's W's.
Personal and team W's.
Strike to Brent.
Our Xfinity pitch tracks will show you that that ball had the plate, even though it was caught by Gerald Laird taking it out of the zone. Al Gibson said it came over a strike.
First and third in Brent. Checks it up on the breaking pitch. He did not go.
Deal to Alan Porter, and he says nope.
Alan Porter. Oh, one of the best games that we have seen. Saw 406 pitches. And I would bet you right now he didn't miss 10 of the 406.
He's a pretty solid umpire. Ooh. When he umpires behind the plate, you very rarely get anyone complaining.
This is a good crew. We don't know Gibson. You're talking about Jerry Lane, Gucci, Hunter, Wendelstedt, Porter. That's 3 good ones right there. So this rookie Gibson's breaking in. Same thing as a ball player with a good team. That ball drifting, but Reed Johnson is there. Casper is almost on second base. Gets back in easily. Yeah, those rookie umpires, put them with a good crew for a while. They can learn a lot quicker than put them with some shaky guys.
Well, it's the consistency of the strike zone. It's like a rookie pitcher, not knowing what his stuff is going to do. Rookie umpire, not establishing a strike zone quite yet. Eventually he will, and when he does, if he stays there, he won't get a whole lot of complaints.
Here's Tyler. Starts him off with a breaking ball strike.
Tyler, a former member of this Atlanta Brave organization.
Over the years, Atlanta's had some excellent scouts.
Well, that's been one of their secrets, and the fact that they can scout their own system probably better than most outside organizations scout their system. They know who to trade and when to trade them.
That's low. Well, that's the first priority. It's got to be the first priority of any organization is to know who you got. Well, know your talent.
You won't, and you didn't get Andrew Jones. You didn't get Chipper Jones. You didn't get any of their real top-of-the-line starting pitchers. But you always got the next great player. He just never seemed to turn out that way.
Yes, he did. And that'll retire the side. So Casper Wells with a single. Nothing can go on, but we lead it 1-0.
play, and it's a flashback of Ken Harrelson in 1972 at the British Open. Just missing the cut by 1 stroke. Very young Hawk there. Sure, he hit the ball as straight as he hits it now. But those 3 putts, huh?
Oh, boy. How about that finish today in the Open? Wow.
Phil Mickelson came out of nowhere, shoot a 66, won the Open. And you said the greens weren't near as fast as they played this time.
No, I played at Muirfield in 72 in the British, and I would say there's a little nubber. Somebody get it. Can't get it. Boy, that's just a complete mix-up right there from Quintana's part. But leadoff man aboard.
Well, it's especially devastating when you consider that it is Gerald Laird. By the time he got there, Alan Porter said no, he was safe. So that's not a good way to begin the inning.
Now they're going out to check on Laird. No, but the greens back in 72, when that was the year Jack was going for the Grand Slam. Jack had a crick in his neck, and he made the cut, obviously, but it sort of worked its way out in the 3rd round, and he played well in the 3rd round. But in the last round, he shot 66, and Trevino beat him. Lee chipped in on the 17th and beat Jack by a shot, or else he would have won his first 3 legs. But the greens, I would say, probably are running on a stump 2 to 2.5 times, 2.5 feet more this year than they were back in 72. So here is the leadoff hitter, Simmons. He singled in the left field. Takes ball 1.
You can find out what's possible with products and services from AT&T. Rethink possible. Just qualifying for the British Open is a good trick. Nice job.
Yeah, it was a wonderful experience. There's the thing. As mentioned, Jack was the one who taught me into going over. We were playing at Lagos down in Miami Beach, and he said, "You're going to go over and try to qualify for the Open?" I said, "No." He said, "Well, you should. You're playing too good." And I thought about it that night, decided to go over and qualify. Two and 1. Outside of the World Series and the All-Star game, that was the greatest thrill in my sporting career.
It would have been a whole lot of fun. At that course, wow.
Yeah, it's wonderful. That ball into left field. Watch out. So Casper hauls it in.
Well, this is called the Heat Gone Dog. And that topping that you see there is a very spicy type of coleslaw. It's called sriracha slaw, which I'm sure you're going to love.
I am?
Yeah, because I'm going to remove all of mine and put it on yours.
A double bubble, huh?
Yeah, I think it'll be really good, especially tomorrow for you.
That's outside to Johnson. Chris hit into a 5-4-3. The Heat Gone Dog served it.
Yes, sir.
4 locations here at the ballpark. I told Bob Graham, I said, that is really scratching that right there. That's really digging.
Yeah. We get that roving camera under the watchful hands of Jimmy Tianis.
The Golden Greek.
So there is the, yeah, that's it.
One and one to count. Yeah, you shoot 66 on Sunday in that golf course. You deserve to win. That's fouled away. I tell you, that 18th hole there, Steve. And Steve is a good player. He knows how to work his way around the golf course. There's just no way you can work your way around that 18th hole. I played that 5 times, 3 practice rounds, 2 in the tournament. Never come close to a par. That is just a recurring nightmare.
The fact that Phil birdied it,
yeah,
is testament to what he did today.
Yeah. That's it, foul.
Johnson's been a very good hitter for him. They haven't gotten quite the defense they thought they might have gotten from him, but this is a team that at times is offensively challenged. Again, as we've seen with the Braves, if they don't hit the ball out of the ballpark, it's difficult for them to win. We saw them work their own way out of a bases loaded, nobody out situation. They came up empty last inning. But Johnson has been terrific. Last 21 games, he's hitting everything in sight, plus driving in 11.
Well, you picked the Braves, I picked the Nats.
Nats are going to have to make a deal, I think. I think they're going to need some thunder because that offense is just not coming together. They got good enough pitching.
Two pitch. He gone.
And he has a word with Hal Gibson, but that one probably caught the outside part of the outside corner, certainly too close to take. That's what you like to see from Quintana. If he's going to work inside, and he did most of the at-bat, then you have to throw the ball away, and you're going to get some called strikes out there. Because you'd have to believe Johnson's looking inside on everything.
So here's Upton. Struck out swinging on a high fastball. Sign on the scoreboard. Welcome Evelyn Berg, 103 years young today, a devoted White Sox fan. That's awesome.
Well, the fans gave her a hand, and justifiably so, but you got to get those announcements in early.
Want to know the count. Two and 0.
This is where Upton becomes especially dangerous because nobody has to tell him that he's had a power outage. However, he is very much in the driver's seat here. Swung at a high fastball up and out of the zone to strike out to end the first inning. I wouldn't be surprised if Freddie Gonzalez, who does like to employ a 3-0 offense, would give him the green light here.
He's a 7-5 favorite to have. And there's ball 4. So the second walk. You know, an oddity about Justin and his brother BJ. How about this for a coincidence? They both hit their 100th career home runs on August 3rd, 2012.
Pretty amazing when you consider the age difference, number one.
Yeah.
Both of them could hardly be any higher on the draft choice list. One by Tampa Bay, that was BJ, and the other by the Arizona Diamondbacks, that was Justin.
So here's Freeman. He singled sharply on an 0-2 pitch right back to the middle. Takes a breaking ball, low and away. I tell you, when they're healthy, this is a pretty potent lineup. Dangerous lineup.
When Hayward gets back and Upton gets back, you're going to also have some speed to go with that increase in power.
Two on, two out, 2-0 the count.
That's what it looks like with Philadelphia, 6.5 Mac, trying to figure out if they can stay in this race with what they have. And they're going to pretty much know in the next probably 5 to 6 days just exactly which way to go. Right now, tough to unload if you're Ruben Amaro.
Strike. Well, I talked to a couple of scouts the other day. They still, their teams, I'm not going to mention teams, but they still don't know which way they're going to go.
I can understand that.
Yeah, sure.
Especially seeing Atlanta not be absolutely untouchable at this point.
Three and one.
Ryan McCann in the on-deck circle. I believe he is destined for free agency. And I'm not sure if the Braves will want to give him a big contract to keep him.
There's a solid single. And they're going to hold him, as they should.
With Rios playing where he was, and the fact that this is a one-hop rocket, no way in the world you can score Gerald Laird from second base. So that'll bring Don Cooper out. He wants a word with Quintana, who's had a whole lot of Braves on base the last 2 innings and yet to dent the plate.
I got a feeling once again Coop's talking about the pace.
Well, he would love him to speed it up. There is no doubt.
You see him talking to Tyler as well. Last time this happened, Quintana was in trouble. He went out there, and boy, he just the rest of the way just shut him down. Working a lot quicker.
Well, let's hope more of the same here this afternoon.
He's got a dangerous man at the plate now.
There is our 103-year-old Sox fan.
She sure does not look it, does she? Wow. But right here, sacks packed with bravos. A healthy rip right there. McCann walked. That was last inning.
This was the first pitch, was fouled off, and then fans sensing there is a souvenir to be had, but just trying to figure out a way to get. Well, let's get the guy with the small hands. That seemingly will work.
Chased a bad pitch right there. Now he's ahead 1-2.
And she's able to do it. So a very happy young man.
1-2 pitch. Nice block by Tyler. Good job.
That kept this game 1-0. The sweeping breaking ball away. Bounces well wide of the plate. And Tyler shifting to his left, able to make the play easily.
Ball hit hard and caught by Keppinger. What a play. Jeff, yeah, showtime. Mercy. That saved a pair. So he's had 2 double plays and a brilliant, spectacular play by Keppinger, and he leads it 1-0. Jeff Vukovich. Jeff, your local Nationwide insurance agent serving the area for over 34 years. So to join the nation, visit jeffvuk.com. Nationwide is on your side.
What a great play by Jeff Keppinger. McCann bidding to drive in a pair. Rifles this ball to the right side. A full out dive. Then they've got plenty of time to get him and out of the inning. Jose Quintana not fooling a whole lot of people, but he's put 3 zeros up there on the scoreboard.
One, 2-0 for us. 0-5-0 for them. Top of the order, De Aza walked and scored. Takes first pitch strike.
Freeman in very close at third base. Freeman's another one of those guys that wants to pitch and can throw in the mid-90s. They keep telling him, I don't think so.
You see a lot of players, not so much now, but used to have a lot of players. If they were position players, they wanted to pitch or get in the game. And if they were pitchers, they wanted to play a position or go to bat.
Well, a lot of these guys, because they were very good players, also doubled up as pitchers and then had to make a choice.
Almost every big league player at one time was
a pitcher, yeah. Let them figure they can hang around a lot longer if they can hit.
That's a good way to start it off. He's going to give it a go. Here's the throw. Safe.
So De Aza, who had 4 hits yesterday, collects his first today, and realizing that Reed Johnson doesn't have that much of an arm. But the most important part of this was that he was going to his left or away from the throw. So Johnson gets there in plenty of time. But with the play in front of him, De Aza realizing that Johnson's not going to be able to plant, get off a good solid throw and get him at second. Good aggressive base running.
Alexi's got a job to do. Struck out his first trip. That's into right field. This guy can throw. He's going to have to. What a throw. A little bit lower, and he gone.
Upton had all the best of it here. And throws a bit of a rainbow, but he makes it on the fly just a touch late.
Yeah, a little bit lower, and they had got him. So now the infield in for Alex, who hit the ball right on the screws in the first inning, right to Gaddis in left field. And that's trouble. That's a lot of trouble. I'll get the job done, so he drives in his 8th run of this series, and it's a 2-0 ball game.
RBI number 48. And with a drawn-in infield and plenty of room to drop it between Uggla and Upton, that's exactly where it went. You're looking for something to hit in the air here with the infield drawn in, and it turns into gold.
So a good speed aboard. Alex 19 for 25 in stolen bases, and here's Adam, who singled and drove in De Aza in the first inning. Now 61 RBIs. There he goes. That ball hit high. Gaddis makes the catch in fair territory. 2 down. And a reminder, you can watch the game in luxury from behind home plate in the Gold Coast Tickets Club here at US Cellular Field. Gold Coast Tickets, you got a guy. Seth Sharon, all the great folks at Gold Coast Tickets.
Pretty good pitching matchup in New York. Philadelphia sending Cliff Lee to the mound against Matt Harvey. Now, Matt Harvey, the way he's throwing, you'd have to figure advantage Mets. That's exactly what's happened. He's leading 5-0. 9 strikeouts, a shutout into the 7th inning for Matt Harvey. They've pounded Lee.
Well, he's got the best stuff we've seen all year. Comes back. Oh, nice play by Laird. Nice play by Laird. But we pick up one on the double by DeAndre, the single by Rios, and it's 2-0.
Chris Sale, the All-Star Game winning pitcher. He went 2 innings, struck out 2, didn't give up anything. And because partly of his heroics, the American League awarded home field advantage for the World Series this year. Chris Sale and his heroics brought to you by Xfinity Home. Get peace of mind with Xfinity Home, the total home security and home control solution that keeps you more connected to what matters most.
So it'll be Gaddis, Uggla, and Johnson. Gaddis had an infield single back in the 2nd inning. Nickname is El Oso Blanco, the White Bear.
He's aptly named. He is a very big man. And being just a rookie, albeit a little bit older rookie, they're expecting that he's only going to get a whole lot better. He can't get a whole lot stronger.
1-0 pitch. Ball hits sharply. Grant's got plenty of time. 1 out.
As I picked up the paper this morning, I know you've been getting a lot of publicity on your special, and justifiably so. I saw an article in the Sun Times, and I guess, what is your reaction to that one?
Well, as you know, first of all, I don't know Dan McGrath. I wouldn't know if he walked in the booth right now. Never met him. And I don't read articles either positive or negative about myself. It's a rule. But a couple of guys in the clubhouse told me, Hawk, what's this guy got against you? And I said, who? They said, McGrath. Dan McGrath. I said, I don't know a Dan McGrath. But, you know, in my experience in baseball, I've seen stuff like this over the years. These guys are down a dozen. You know, you take the Dan McGraths, you take the Boers and Bernsteins, they're all Mariotti wannabes. They deal in trash. That's the only way they can exist. They're negative. They deal in negativity, and I call them trash dealers. So when I read the article, I thought about halfway through, I said, boy, this guy must have led a really dull life. Or he's very jealous. And Dan, I really don't care what your opinion is, to tell you the truth. I'm sure that a lot of other people feel the same way. Dealing in trash. 2-2 pitch to Uggla. It's full. Uggla struck out on a 3-2 fastball. A big situation because the bases were loaded and nobody out. That's a Swedish name, Uggla, and it means owl. Oh, nice pick. 2 down.
It sure helps if you can field your position, because that ball was ticketed for center field. And number one, it saves you pitches if Uggla's not aboard. It might save you some runs. But bearing in mind that you're the 5th infielder, when you release the baseball, you should be able to defend that position. The biggest hole is right back up the middle. And fortunately for Jose, was hit to the glove side. And he makes the play easily.
So here's Johnson. He came up with the bases loaded, 1 out, and hit a soft line drive to Alexi, and they turned it into a double play, and that's going to be a nice Bolingbrook bounce right there, but a wild throw.
The 360 spin is very difficult to throw one on the button once you do that. But Alexi felt that the only play he had was to do the spin and see if he could throw out Reed Johnson. He gets to the ball, but as he spins, that ball comes to the home plate side of first. Adam Dunn does a very good job, because his first responsibility and only responsibility there is get the baseball. Don't worry about the bag, and make sure that Johnson stays at first.
So here's Gerald Laird. He had an infield single. Yes, I meant an infield single. Gerald does not get a whole bunch of those.
No one yet as a backup catcher, hitting .306. They like Laird, and they also like Gaddis, who can go behind the plate also.
Laird's always played well against us.
Yes, he has. Yeah, he's been a solid performer when he's had the opportunity. He's not a guy who's going to complain about how he's used. That's valuable for a backup catcher.
And he'll be around a long time because of that. Out. You can hear it from up here.
Tries to get that cutter inside, and unfortunately it hits the left hand, and the left hand happens to be on the bat. So sometimes you can deflect it maybe off that wrist guard, but it didn't appear that that's what happened. He did have a batting glove, but well, there's a lot of small bones in the hand as they come out. They take a look.
Yeah, I believe there's about 14 of them in there. Yeah, that when you can hear it from up here,
it's not going to feel too good.
No.
That is the Dan Ryan.
And Coop out.
Or you can just park, get off the Dan Ryan, and come into the ballpark.
And while Coop makes his way out there, a reminder, Saturday, July 27th, come see our Sox take on Kansas City at 6:10. All fans are invited to stay for a post-game fireworks show presented by Magellan Corporation. So you can purchase tickets today by visiting whitesox.com or calling 866-SOX-GAME. I tell you, Joe Sparmer. Remember him, Joe Sparmer from the Tigers?
I do.
We were playing him at Fenway one day. He hit me on the left hand, just about where he got hit there. That thing hurt for over a month.
Well, Laird is going to be taken out. They're going to have a look at it. Joey Turdoslavich, who started the first 2 games in the series, coming on to pinch run. I think one of the things that Coop told Quintana and Flowers, a combination, that Simmons trying to pull everything. He's really not the ideal leadoff hitter. He's only there because they don't have anybody else at this point. But he is a guy that can hit for some power. And he's been looking for the ball inside both at bats today.
And here's the leadoff hitter who was singled hard in the left and lined to left. And Belton Simmons, 23 years old. Simmons. As Steve told you in an opener, as a pitcher, an amateur ball, they clocked him at 98.
It's really amazing. It's an amazing story that he had the options. But like a lot of young hitters, and he is just that, he's going to expand his strike zone.
And he also is the third toughest hitter to strike out in the National League this year. So that'll tell you he's got a good eye-hand coordination, good hitting zone.
But we've seen him make a couple of spectacular plays at shortstop.
Good pitch, had him way out in front. And that'll retire the side. They have now stranded 7. And we'll go to the bottom of the 4th, leading 2-0.
And Evan Gattis comes in from left field and takes over behind the plate. And if we get any report on Gerald Laird, we will certainly let you know. So a couple of changes for the Braves as they trail 2-0.
Well, unfortunately, we know how tough Gerald Laird is. So for him to leave, there's a good chance that could be a fracture.
Yeah, you really have to hope that he's just got some soreness.
Yeah.
Some stiffness, but
it's going to be sore.
But you're right. If you talk about the little small bones, there's a whole lot of them, and it's pretty easy for one of them or more to crack when your hand's on the bat and get hit.
Here's Tank. He struck out his first trip, and he takes strike one. That's what he struck him out on. And the count 0-2. Chopper to Hopper. 1 out. That'll bring up Casper Wells, who shot a single right back through the middle. A bullet.
Do you think with the added layer once again of wild card teams that it's going to add to the amount of movement we see before the trade deadline?
I don't think there's any question about it. It's another terrific move by the commissioner.
And you know that Boston's looking, certainly. They've got a tenuous lead in the East.
That's in the hole. This guy can throw, low throw, and he gets it.
Well, that throw's by design.
Yeah.
A lot of people think that, well, it's a bad throw. It's not a bad throw. It happens to be a good throw because you're getting a skip off the grass. As long as it bounds away from Freeman far enough, it's an easy play to make. Simmons, with a great arm, knows that if he one-hops it, he's going to get it there maybe a half a step in time. Wells gets down the line quickly. The first guy I saw use that consistently was Davey Concepcion on the artificial surface. Now, I'm sure he didn't invent it, but he's a guy with a big red machine that used it a lot.
I think, well, in all my time in the game, he was the first, Concepcion. But, you know, they've got, according to several defensive metrics, such as DRS, defensive runs saved, and UZR. Yeah, we're going into sabermetrics. They've got Simmons rated as best shortstop in baseball.
That's surprising.
And that'll retire the side. We're into the fifth, leading 2-0. Local youth baseball leagues. Local Chevy dealers are supporting over 30,000 young ball players in their communities through the Chevy Youth Baseball Program since 2010. Chevy dealers have been providing numerous leagues with equipment kits, instructional clinics, and much needed financial support. So from the big leagues to the youth leagues, Chevy is truly the official vehicle of the great game of baseball.
And we'll take you up to the fundamentals deck to watch the youngsters try to sharpen up their control. The young folks have a great time up there.
Oh, yeah. All right. Chris Johnson. 0 for 2. Takes a strike. Outfield straight up, spread out.
Johnson is a pull hitter, but we've seen in this series, if we keep the ball down and keep it away from him, he will go back up the middle. With that pull hitting in mind, Alexei Ramirez is very close to Morel at third. They're playing him as a dead pull hitter in the infield.
Out of play. Well, Chris is the son of Ron Johnson, who played for the Royals and Expos in 82, 3, and 4. And he later was the Red Sox first base coach. Currently managing AAA club for the Orioles, Norfolk Tides.
Well, his son is a good offensive player.
Yeah. Has Brian McCann played for his dad, who now has a baseball school down around Atlanta. And Brian said that's the reason that he's in the big leagues today, because what his dad told him.
I believe it's of critical importance for your parents, and not just baseball, anything, to be supportive of whatever endeavor you choose.
And that's muscled into left field.
And exactly as they played him as a dead pull hitter, Alexi could not get close enough to Morel to stop that ball from going in that little bitty hole they left on the left side.
So for the fourth time, they have the leadoff man aboard. Well, that 2 double plays if you're just tuning in. And a brilliant play, a spectacular play by Keppinger has kept him off the board. Here's Upton, a strikeout and a walk.
Johnson not taking much of a lead at first base. He has yet to attempt to steal. That's why Adam is in front of him and off the bag.
And that is just foul. Thank you.
They're going to get B.J. Upton back in about 10 days. And when they get him back, this defense that has been 1 or 2 in the National League over the last couple of years, but somewhat down this year, is going to get a whole lot better, as Upton is a Gold Glove caliber center fielder.
1-1 pitch. There's a little soft. Pop fly. You could have caught that one with a pair of tweezers.
He got in, busted the bat, threw it right on the hands of Justin Upton, and he couldn't get anything into the swing. Well, for those of you who like pitching, we got the premier pitching matchup of the year maybe tomorrow night. And that is Max Scherzer at 13-1 against Chris Sale. 2 All-Stars. Sale with a better ERA than Scherzer, but Scherzer has been backed offensively by his ball club, and that one is going to be a dandy. It's tomorrow night.
Yes, sir. We got a big 4-game series with them, followed by 3 with Kansas City. Yeah, that's a good one there.
It's a great matchup, and a great matchup also. The final game of the series Thursday afternoon, Justin Verlander against Jake Peavy.
Raymond helps him out right there.
So in between, we'll tell you that Rick Porcello in the Tuesday night game against Hector Santiago and Anibal Sanchez in the Wednesday night game against Johnny Days. First time we will have seen Detroit in this ballpark. We've got 16 left with the Tigers.
A ball and 2 strikes to Freeman. He gone. A beauty right on the outside corner at the knees. That's a grab some bench pitch.
With 2 strikes, you've got to protect if it's close, and this one is close. It looks to have part of the plate. It did come over high enough. Freeman might have thought it was away, but caught well and framed well by Tyler Flowers. Because without moving his glove, he actually made it look closer than perhaps it really was.
McCann. Ryan has walked, and he was robbed of 2 RBIs. Spectacular. play by Jeff Keppinger.
If that guy catches it, it's going to be a fair ball, so we'll have him move over when the Braves are out. It's been one of the things that always characterized Brian McCann, as apparently Quintana probably felt something, because Brian Ball is coming out with Robin Ventura, and it was probably a grimace that brought them out there, and now they're going to talk about it.
And while they do, Sox fans want to get closer to the action next time you're at US Cellular Field. Upgrade your seats directly from your mobile device through MLB's At the Ballpark app. Available as a free download for your iPhone and Android. Upgrading your seats is fast, simple, and fun. So hit the upgrade button when you get to the ballpark and enjoy the game from the comfort of your new seats.
Could very well be that it's a cramp, because they're trying to stretch out his leg and his foot. And hopefully it is a cramp, because I will tell you that a starting pitcher with the lead and 2 outs in the 5th inning, if you hadn't taken off the leg,
for all those viewers out there, this is the way he thinks. This is the way Steve thinks.
you love to see your team win, but you also would love to see yourself qualify, and it looks like a cramp to me.
Yeah. Did you get many of those?
Not in the 5th with 2 outs in the lead.
Couldn't get him out of there with a backhoe.
It's Axelrod and Percy loosening up in the pen. Let's just hope that one of our young, talented left-handers is okay. It appears that it is a cramp, and he'll try to hydrate between innings.
Run them arms, see it.
So a 1-1 count to McCann, and I just mentioned his dad is now runs Windward Baseball Academy in the Atlanta area. So it might behoove all you Atlantans with children to maybe check them out. The Windward Baseball Academy. And there's the base hit. So 2 on, 2 out. You know, there are a lot of baseball schools, a lot of camps and everything else, and they're just like any other profession. You got good ones, you got mediocre ones, and you got bad ones. And you've got to check them out to find out, because if you send your son to a mediocre or bad school, you're doing him a big disservice.
Well, Son Cooper walks out. It really helps. I mean, when you're entertaining the idea of putting your son or daughter in the hands of an instructor, it helps to know their philosophy and what they're trying to accomplish. And the parents should be meeting with whoever is going to be the instructor and say, okay, what are you going to plan to do, and how are you going to do it with my child? Because obviously this is your most precious possession. You want them to learn the right way. You want them to get a good foundation on the fundamentals. And sometimes it doesn't jibe with what your child has going for them, or you might not agree with the way things are being done. But there's so many good ones now. They're getting better and better in that, just like just about everything else. And so you're not going to do anything to the detriment of your child, certainly, but it helps to know the philosophy going in. If you do that, you're probably going to be in good shape.
Well, that's well put. Well said. Go talk to him.
Yeah, find out.
Find out. So here's Gaddis. Boy, he had some kind of hack at that. He got a cookie, and thank goodness underneath it.
Well, he's probably just in raw strength, and they got some guys who can hit the ball a long way on his team. He is the strongest guy on this ball club.
That ball is off the glove of Morel. So here comes the run. He will score. Johnson, and it's a 2-1 ball game. That ball was killed.
Fortunately, he did not get it up in the air. It's RBI number 38. For Brent Morel, there's very little he can do. Number one, you have no chance to move at all. And so number two, the only thing you can do is try to one-hop it. Gaddis just smokes it. And this going to the backhand with a lot of topspin. Brent did a nice job of making sure it didn't get down the line, because that's going to be most likely 2 runs if it does.
Well, the way this game has been going, it was just a matter of time before they crossed home plate.
Yeah, they've been at least 1 hit in every inning, multiple hits in 3 innings.
And that's into center field. Off the bat of Uggla. And he's upset with himself, but they get on the board. We're halfway home, leading 2-1. Friday, July 26th. Come see our Sox take on the Royals at 7:10. And all fans are invited to stay for a post-game fireworks show presented by Palmer House Hilton. Palmer House Hilton, the official Sox Fest hotel of our Chicago White Sox. So, WhiteSox.com or 866-SOX-GAME. Tyler Flowers will lead it off. Tyler, check swing strikeout his first trip. Mike Minor, 6'4", 205 pounds, 25 years old.
What really earned him the shot to solidify himself in the rotation was last year. Second half of the season, he went 7-4 with an ERA of 2.21 in 15 starts. So as the year went along, he got better, started to understand it more, and under Roger McDowell now is one of the better left-handers around. Roger McDowell is their pitching coach, has been for 8 years now. One of the true characters of the game, and he's turned into a terrific coach.
He knew it. 1 out.
Fourth strikeout. And this one just threads the needle on the outside corner. No cause for debating that call.
No, he knew it. When you're going to look for a pitch or guess, and there's a difference. you're better off 95% of the time guessing fastball. Now, if you're hitting against Steve Stone, you might want to sit on that curveball. There's a shot caught by Freeman. That's the Hang Wolfham right there.
Well, fortunately for Minor and Freeman, he's 6'5", because that was a rocket ticketed for a 2-base hit. Freeman was in trying to take away the bunt and was able to go up and get it.
So here's Alexei. Yeah, but against the pitcher who is predominantly a breaking ball pitcher, you got to guess breaking ball.
Most people say guess his fastest pitch and adjust on down. However, if a guy is showing you that he's going to throw you 60-70% breaking balls, if you guess one and you get one hanging, then you're going to pound it.
Well, that's well stated, because I can be guessing fast curveball if you get it where you want to get it. If I hit it, I'm not going to do anything with it anyway.
Most hitters would love to hit the fastball, but sometimes you just don't get a hittable fastball. And Alexei threw the bat away. That's not going to endear him to Hal Gibson, I don't think.
Well, he's been calling that pitch right there all day long.
We've had, well, Freddie Freeman was called out on a pitch exactly that spot, low and in. Alexei thought it was down, throws the bat away, but you might want to wait for the umpire's call, as a general rule.
And there's ball 4. So the 2-out walk. He's got 20 stolen bases in 25 attempts. Well, Alexei, you know, I'm sure that they tried to talk to him, but he's got a couple of habits up there at the plate that does not endear him to umpires. He's not going to get the benefit of the doubt very often.
Well, he's not going to walk all that often, but he has walked here. You would think somewhere in this sequence they're going to test out the arm of Evan Gattis, because this is his first inning moving behind the plate.
Well, he's got a gun. There he goes. Right on the money. And that'll retire the side. We're into the 6th, leading 2-1. We'll lead it off here in the top of the 6th inning. 2-4-0 for us, 1-9-0 for them. Thank goodness it was 2 double plays. Yeah, that is a soft pop-up. Doc Edwards shot.
We're going to take a look at the 6th time that Alexei's been thrown out this year. Gaddis, with all the best of it, gets it down there in time. It's a straight steal. Alexei never looked back, and they do get it. The call by Jerry Lane.
Yeah, he doesn't miss many.
Nope, the tag in just for the foot.
So here is Daslovich. I'm going to call him Joey.
Oh, Joey's fine. Much easier.
Oh,
if you use Joey.
Yeah. Savannah, Georgia, Joey's a lot easier.
He's only hit 4 times from the right side. He's a switch hitter.
There's another fister, and that's trouble. No, it's not. Nice catch. He had to go a long way for that. So 2 quick out.
Jose is getting a lot of those cutters in on the hands of the right-handers, but he's throwing them in off the plate and getting the best of it.
Well, you know, the scouting report had it in there.
Yep.
And again, if you get a curveball where you want it, doesn't make any difference. If he gets that cutter where he wants it, doesn't make any difference.
Like Mariano Rivera, you know what's coming, you just can't hit it.
A 1-pitch pitcher that's the greatest that ever lived at what he does in this game. You know it's coming, still can't do anything with it.
Jose has bent, but he hasn't broken. 9 hits through 5 innings. First 2 retired here in the 6th, but he has a 2-1 lead.
There's a strike. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out.
Tyler wants it away, gets it down the middle, but equally as effective.
Full count.
Simmons at times will show you some surprising strength. He's just starting to figure it out.
That home run he hit on Friday was a rocket.
Right down the line off the screen of the foul pole. And a 2-run homer.
And here comes Robin. Evidently he's saying something he does not like or is concerned very much about.
Ramon Troncoso now loosening in the pen.
Is he going to pull an Alvin Dark or a Dick Williams?
Well, if he goes out now and says to the umpire, look, I was just checking on his physical well-being, so I think my pitcher should have as much time as possible to come in. And we'll see as Hal Gibson comes to the mound if Robin wants to use that, but he's going to leave him in at least for one more hitter.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Alvin Dark and Dick Williams, what they would do a lot of times in this situation, because he's thrown 95 pitches, and they all been under duress, so to speak. Okay, it's been a tough 95. Yeah. What they would do in this situation is they go out there, 2 out, 3 and 2 on a hitter, left-handed pitcher out there, and they would bring in the right-hander because he was going to take him out next inning anyway.
Well, he decided to leave him in, like I say, at least for one more hitter, and most likely that would be it if he doesn't get Simmons. And he didn't.
And here comes Robin again. So he's got Chris Johnson coming up, who has singled and scored. And, you know, it goes to show you right there, Steve, that as much trouble as he was in, he was learning how to pitch his way out of games.
Does have a lot of composure and has shown that since the day he stepped in, but he's getting better at it, and the fans do give him a hand. He leaves with the lead, but with the tying run on. So Troncoso comes in, and we'll step out and be back after these messages.
And White Sox fans, now is the chance to tell us what you think and win an autographed White Sox jersey. In the process, simply visit whitesox.com/survey during today's game and provide us your feedback. In doing so, you'll be entered for a chance to win an autographed Gordon Beckham jersey. So whitesox.com/survey.
Troncoso has to be aware of Simmons at first base. He's swiped 4 bases. 5 bases, been caught 4 times. And there you look at his record to date, on for the 16th time. Now Ramon, who sets up a most unusual way in his stretch, has to go a long way till he gets the ball to first base, so you can get an extra step on the lead.
Right to it. Shuffle. And that'll do it. We'll go to the bottom of 6. 2-1, good guys. Our guys on top 2-1. We scored 1 in the first, 1 in the third. They scored 1 in the fifth, if you're just joining us. And, you know, we were talking about Brian McCann's dad, who runs the Windward Baseball Academy down in the Atlanta area. But up here in the Chicago area, we have the Bull Sox Academy out in Lyle. And if you want to send your child to learn about how to go about playing baseball and having fun while they're doing it, that's the key, having fun while they're doing it. Check out the Bull Sox Academy out in Lyle. Again, like Steve said, we'll talk to them. Find out what the philosophy is. Find out what they want to do.
And you're liable to run into Mike Huff, who can explain a whole lot about his philosophy, the Academy's philosophy, and just what he is going to do with your most valuable commodity.
Well, it's you know, it's something that so many unfortunate, you know, it's a necessary evil in some cases that there are too many instructors and coaches. Everything is predicated on winning. At the ages of 8 or 9, as that's up the middle and into center field. At the ages of 8 or 9 and up, until they get into high school, they should not be everything predicated on winning. It should be on learning and having fun, so that they want to come back the next day. They want to come back the next day. They want to go out. Hey, Dad, throw me something so I can hit a little bit. Let's play catch, Dad. You know, or Mom, and there's so many moms, single parent moms in today's society. So here's Adam. He's 1 for 2 with an RBI.
They are shifted, although everybody is on the skin of the infield. Minor has kept his pitches to a minimum. That's just 72 of them used to get him into the 6th inning.
Let's have an inning right here, guys. There he goes. Safe. Stolen base number 20.
Alex got a great jump. He was going on first move. Nothing Gaddis could do, because on a straight steal, he never looks back. He just intent on getting the bag, and he got there easily.
1-1. Broken bat. Bobbled, and everybody is safe.
It's going to be an error on Simmons. That is going to be his 8th error of the year. He's in unfamiliar territory, although a ground ball is a ground ball, but he's playing essentially at second base when he bobbles his ball.
So here's Keppinger. He's gone out deep to center and fouled out to Gerald Laird, who was the catcher at the time. We still have not had any report on his left hand. We certainly hope that everything is okay. If you missed that, he got hit in the left hand while his hand was on the bat. We could hear it all the way up here. Pops him up. So a big out. 1 down. And that'll bring up Tank. Tank has struck out and gone into second. Minor would like to have that same ground ball.
With 1st and 3rd and only 1 out, our hitters have been successful in driving in at least 1 70% of the time. The Braves pitchers 55% of the time. And that's bookends around the league average at 63% of the time.
Go through that one, and we just get a report. Gerald Laird, left-hand contusion. X-rays were negative, so that's good news. That was some shot he took.
Yeah, they got very, very fortunate on that they don't have to go down and bring up another catcher. Nice stop by Gaddis. He freezes the runners right there, keeps a double play in order, and keeps Alex at third.
And that's into center field. It's going to get the job done. Here's Alex. And we get that run back. It's a 3-1 Sox lead. Good job by Viciedo.
That'll be number 29 on sacrifice fly. He got one up in the zone, one he could get up in the air. And Johnson does not have a great arm. Gets rid of the ball quickly enough, but Alex able to beat the play. And for Viciedo, that is his 4th sacrifice fly of the year.
As Casper, he's 1 for 2. Goes through the fastball. That one up at 91. There's that changeup.
This ball well off the plate, but with a lot of late movement. That looked a lot like a Johnny Danks changeup when he throws a good one.
You got him, but we pick up a Singleton. We'll go to the 7th, leading by 2. That's 1-9-1 for them here in the top of the 7th inning, and will be Upton to lead it off. He's 0 for 2 with a walk. Takes that pitch inside.
Got to go right through the heart of the order here for the Braves. They lead the National League in home runs, so they've got some thunder, even with a couple of guys missing.
Well, this is going to be the one guy that he faces. This is the time of the game, 7th inning. You got a 1 or 2 run lead. You got some strong left-handed hitters coming up, but you better have a left-hander up in the pen.
Got Donnie Veal, it appears.
To Hopper. Morel. Big out, and here comes Robert. So a good job by Ramon, who's been doing a good job.
You got a pretty good idea about the pecking order in your bullpen when you're coming into games when your team is ahead. And that's exactly what Ramon did. He held him right there, so he gives way to Donnie Veal. And with a 2-run lead, we'll step out and be back after these messages.
Constellation, first 10,000 fans will receive a White Sox Garden Gnome courtesy of Constellation. So purchase your tickets now, whitesox.com or 866-SOX-GAME.
With one out here in the 7th, Donnie Veal comes on to face Freeman and McCann at the very least. Two left-handers hitting back-to-back. Veal 1-0, ERA 7.20. On for the 19th time.
Freeman, a couple of singles and a strikeout. And he takes that fastball outside. Good pitch. Ate him up. Downstairs. That's the ideal situation for Donnie Veal. To try to way to get 2 strikes on him before showing him that curveball. But the trick is getting him 2 strikes. And now he's got the catbird seat 3-1.
He faced McCann in yesterday's game and did a nice job against him, but he got ahead. Now he is behind. That young man not happy about it.
Ball hit sharply. Takes a nice Hawthorne Woods bounce for Keppinger. 2 down. And here comes McCann. He has walked, was robbed of a couple of RBIs on a spectacular play by Keppinger to end the 3rd inning. Boy, he hit a bullet hard to Jeff's left. Lay out, got it, picked it up, threw him out, saved 2 runs.
That so far is the difference in the ball game, because that could have easily have gotten by.
Yeah, that's been the definitive play. He just missed that one. High pop-up, kept it. So a good job by Ramon Troncoso. Good job by Donnie Veal. 7th inning stretch. We lead at 3-1.
Around Major League Baseball.
There it is. Check out our WGN Sports Tale of the Tape. Good guys on top 3-1. Rubber match of this 3-game set. And for us, it'll be Morel, Flowers, and Diaz. I want to thank Gerald Cheney for another great job on the national anthem and our God Bless America, and also the other day, Amanda Schnoblin. Terrific. But right here, it might behoove us to get another run or two. First pitch strike. Grant 0 for 2. He's going out deep to center, and he's lined out to the shortstop. 25-year-old southpaw Mike Minor.
And nobody up in the bullpen. He's given up the 2 earned runs. The last run given up last inning was unearned. But he's also only used 84 pitches to this point. Oh, that one says 86.
That's one out. Six strikeouts now for Minor. Scotty Fletcher, soon to be Gordon Beckham's father-in-law. That's going to be, I'll tell you, she's getting a terrific guy, and Gordon is probably, even though I've never met her, knowing Scotty though, a terrific girl.
Well, he also has a father-in-law who's one of the hitting coaches of the Braves. So if Gordon ever does go into a slump again, and he's not anticipating that anytime soon, he'll have someone in the family that can help him out.
One of my favorite stories and remembrances was watching Scotty Fletcher hit against Dave Steed. Boy, they did not like each other. And Scotty's one of those guys like an Al Kaline. Off the field is the most mild-mannered, genteel, just a great guy. On the field, put that jockstrap on, becomes a tiger. Scotty would jump up on top of that plate against Steve. Steve would bust him inside. He'd get closer. Steve would drill him in the ribs. Next time he'd come up, he'd get closer. Hey, Steve. One of the great sliders in the history of this game.
He had a strange motion, too. It was almost a short arm motion.
Yeah.
Hard to pick the ball up.
It was like you brought him in from shortstop to play pitcher.
Exactly right.
A great competitor. Two down.
Tyler was not happy with Hal Gibson on that call. And maybe we'll be able to show you why. Tyler thought it was inside. Gibson thought it was good enough. And catchers, especially when you're nursing a 2-run lead in the game, you have to be careful just how much you're going to give to the umpire, because you know that you need some pitches given to your pitchers. So you have to be very diplomatic.
Bobble back control. And that didn't take long. We're into the 8th, leading 3-1.
Fact that the Braves about hit our Sox 9-5. The Braves have made the only error of the game. Quintana went 5 2/3. He's a pitcher of record, giving up the 9 hits, but only 1 run. Diaza doubles, extends his hit streak to 9 games. Your Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana Honda dealers, as reliable as the cars themselves. So Nate Jones comes into this one at 3-4, the ERA 4.44, on for the 42nd time. He inherits a 2-run lead, and he's got a few right-handers to face.
Gaddis, Uggla the first 2. Oops. Looking for the express and got the low. Gaddis is 2 for 3 with an RBI. Go in that lone run for him back in the 5th inning with a rocket off the glove. Brent Morel. Another one, and the count 0-2.
He appears to not be picking up the slider, judging by those 2 pitches.
And believe me, I know how he feels.
He's just swinging. If the ball leaves Nate's hands, he's swinging.
Been there and done that.
He's got an unusual motion. If you haven't seen the slider, and you know that Gaddis hasn't, unless he makes a mistake, he's out.
One and 2. Lays off that one. Take him right here. Don't go forward. A lot more dangerous 3-2 than he is 2-2. Unless you make the mistake. That's what it's about. Hitting mistakes. He gone. 1 out. He did not make a mistake.
Now that last slider, as good as the first 2. And when it just disappears, you see the front side of Gaddis giving way. Even though he tries to keep his arms there, once you give away the body, you got no chance of coverage.
That's a Beltre swing right there. Only Beltre hit that ball 450.
He makes some contact, yeah.
Well, what a fun player he is to watch. Uggla struck out, grounded back to the pitcher, and gone out to center.
All of the rumors have the Texas Rangers right in the middle of just about every one of the guys who are available, the major deals. They find themselves 2 games in back of Oakland coming into action today. But they could use some help, especially with a pitching staff that has had as many injuries as they have. We'll take a look at the standings in the West. See the Angels 9 back, but 8 back in the loss column, playing better baseball these days.
Uggla fouls that one back, and the count 2-1. Uggla, of the balls he puts in play, 48.2% of them. 48.2% are fly balls. That's tops in the National League.
That's why he hit so many home runs.
Yeah.
But also with an uppercut swing.
Last
few strikeout years, 168, 156, 149, 150, 171, and 167.
And there's the dreaded walk. So here's Reed Johnson. Reed is hit into a 6-4. I should say line into a 6-4 double play. Had an infield single, and he's popped to short. Base on balls in the 7th, 8th, and 9th innings will absolutely eat you alive, especially against a good team, which this certainly is.
Well, they've got 29 come from behind wins. So this Brave team is no stranger to that.
Yeah, that's a state of mind. That's a mindset we had in 05. Didn't make any difference. Be 4 or 5 runs down going to the 7th, 8th, and 9th innings, and just felt like we were going to win it.
I think to a man, this Brave team realizes that they don't have to do it themselves. They just have to keep the inning alive, get aboard any way you can, and the guy behind you is real good.
Slider, no chance. 1-1. Yep. That feeling is Well, it's like a lady being pregnant. She either is or she's not. You either have it or you don't. That's into left field. Tank back. And jumps and makes a catch. Yes! Right up against the wall. Looked for a second like that ball was going to carry out of here, Steve, and it just almost did. I can't expect that. Wells makes the catch.
Yeah, Casper Wells does a great job. I am very comfortable with the fact that he's out in left field. And he drifted and drifted and drifted before finally making a catch. And the fans here see it on the big screen. They applaud him as he goes up over the fence, timing his leap perfectly. That ball is going to be out of the ballpark unless he catches it. You don't see many more time better than this.
No, that is a beautiful play by a good outfielder. So here's Joey. Can't get that one. Jim Thome and I are talking about Wells prior to the game. He can run, he can throw. He's a terrific outfielder. He's got power. And while he has not even touched anywhere near his ceiling, not even touched it.
Well, it's hard to believe when you look at all the things he can do and the attributes he brings to a ball club. Number one, that he's been with 4 different teams this year, but also that he hasn't been able quite yet to put them all together and bring that same package to the ballpark every day. Maybe it's that he just needs an opportunity. But with plays like that, you're going to get your share of opportunities.
That's fouled back. Yeah, if the right guy gets to him with the right approach, with the wood, he got a chance to be a heck of a player. A better than average major league outfielder.
Well, Reed Johnson gave it his best shot. It fell short, fortunately. Terdoslavich came in when Laird exited the game. It shifted Gaddis behind the plate. Terdoslavich moved into left field. And he's getting a key at bat for him.
He gone. And that'll do it. We go to the bottom of the 8th, leading 3-1. Beautiful play by Casper Wells. Out of Market Game Live, over 350 supported mobile and connected devices and HD quality. Visit MLB TV to order and you get more details. MLB.tv, baseball everywhere.
Part of the order coming up. Be good to get an insurance run or so.
Carson off with a changeup. Alexei 0 for 2 with a walk. And then he's gunned out by Gaddis, attempting to steal. Ball hit hard, but they got a man there. Johnson throws him out. 1 out. Here's Rios.
Big day for Alex today.
Alex 2 for 3 with an RBI and a run scored. Only out he made was a line shot right to Gaddis, who then was playing in left field. Pops that one up. Steve looks to me like a minor. The more that he works and perfects that changeup, you're looking at a big winner.
Now he's going to be an integral part of this rotation for a long time. This is a rotation that has used the same 5 starters all year long. The only time they had to go to a 6th was in a double header situation. So they're durable. They're very good. They're second in the league in pitching. And Minor's going to be a big part of that. You get a young left-hander can get the ball over the plate and change speeds like he can. He's a good one.
0-2 the count. Adam 1 for 3. Drove in that run in the first inning, coming with 2 out. Yaz at second, who had walked.
The Braves will leave here and go to New York for 4 games. Now the best news that they have is that Matt Harvey threw today. So they're going to miss one of the most talented pitchers in all of baseball.
Best stuff we have seen all season. Most dominating performance that. And of course, the one by the coach.
Jeff Samardzija against us.
That's it. As he strikes him out. So 1-2-3 inning win of the 9th. Be the top of the order.
It was back in the 3rd inning, and it came off the bat of Alex Rios. He didn't hit it hard, but he hit it in a good spot. Driving in his 48th run of the year, made it a 2-0 game at the time. It stands at 3-0 now, and a big day for Alex Rios. So Addison Reed comes into the game trying to nail one down. It'd be his 25th save in 29 attempts. He's 4-1. The ERA 3.86 on for the 41st time. And if he does indeed save it, it would be a well-deserved win for Jose Quintana, and one that will partially go to make up for all of those no decisions that he left ahead, only to see his ball club either not offensively get it done or some more runs scored to make it impossible to catch up.
Well, if you're just tuning in, Quintana was in a jam in the second inning, had bases loaded, nobody out. Struck out Uggla and got Johnson to line into that double play. He was in trouble in the third. He was in trouble in the fifth. And he's becoming a good pitcher. He pitched his way out of the jams. First pitch strike to Simmons, who was 1 for 3, a single and a walk.
I think Jose's got to be very happy with this performance, because giving up 3 walks and 9 hits in 5 2/3, and yet making every big pitch that he had to make, even with some defensive help, it's a job well done.
That's off the outside corner. Cutter. And the count 1-1. One thing about these Braves, they will go up there and get after that inside fastball.
Well, they strike out a lot. They hit the ball out of the park a lot. But this is one of the guys, you mentioned it earlier, this is a guy who at a very tender young age does not strike out like some of the other big bangers in that lineup.
Nice pick. Made the hop. Dig out. So big out, and that'll bring up Chris Johnson, who's 1 for 4. Once again, reminders. He just told you about that pitching matchup tomorrow night.
Well, you can't get too much better than that. And that is Max Scherzer against Chris Sale.
That's off the end of the bat. He likes it. 2 down.
Now there's a guy been swinging the bat better than anybody in this lineup. And Freddie Freeman will only come into play if you don't get Justin Upton. This becomes a critical out for a couple of different reasons. You get it, you win the ball game. That's obvious. But the fact is, if you don't get him, you have to face the guy that squared it up 3 times out of his 4 at-bats in Freddie Freeman. So the fans on their feet, looking for Addison to nail down number 25 and award Quintana his 5th win of the year.
27,729. First pitch strike. And the count 0-2. Slow, low, and away, or hard, high, up, out of the zone.
He loves to swing at face-high fastballs, and he doesn't catch up to him up there. He's been 101 times this year.
They want it up there. Too high. For me, just seeing him play in a limited time when he was in D-backs uniform, where he played down, and also the series, it's hard for me to believe that this guy strikes out that much.
He is a 5-tool player, no doubt.
He gone, and this ball game is over. So the Sox take the rubber match. And, you know, just looking back, Steve, at the job by Quintana, struggling all day long, take off 1 inch.
No, he didn't have his good stuff today, as illustrated by the 9 hits. And the fact that he walked 3 also shows you that he didn't have the pinpoint control, and yet he got Robin where he had to get him. He got him with the lead into the 6th inning, and then it was the bullpen after that, and the bullpen was spectacular today. You got Troncoso, Beal, Jones, and then Reed. So very much a team win today, just enough offense, some airtight pitching, some very good defense, and when you wanted this team to do what they did today, this is how it was drawn up.
And the bullpen did not give up a hit, so we'll be back.